Hello everyone, welcome back to another Mario Baseball video. Today I'm going to be walking you through how to play Mario Baseball online, whether that's against your friends and you want to show off your skills, or you want to join the ranked ladder and try and grind your way to the top, playing in tournaments and all the other events that we have going on in the Mario Baseball server. So I'm going to walk you through from start to finish how to install the emulator that we use and how to start using the Discord and join the queue and get matched into games online. To start things off, you're going to need a couple of things to play Mario Baseball online. Obviously, you're going to need a computer. I'm going to show you how to set it up on both a Mac and a Windows. I'm using laptops, but you can also use desktop computers, and talk you through some of the specs here real quick. On the Mac side of things, I think that any Apple Silicon Mac, that's any Mac made within the last 4 years or so, should be good to play Mario Baseball online. And then on the Windows side of things, I think my old laptop represents probably the lowest end of laptop or computer specs that you could get to run Mario Baseball, and that would be a Intel i7 7500U CPU and then a NVIDIA GeForce 940MX graphics card. So if you want to look at benchmarks and compare your setup, but both of those are pretty attainable at a decent price, and most of you probably already have that. So second thing you're going to need for playing online is a controller. Now, if you're like me, you want to use the original GameCube controller, and this is actually the one I used growing up from 17, 18 years ago, 20 years ago, I guess the game came out. And so if you're going to want to use a GameCube controller, you're also going to need a USB adapter. And so we'll walk you through how to set up this USB adapter, as well as talking you through how to set up some other controllers as well. And finally, you're going to need an ISO of the game. Now, I cannot provide ISOs, I cannot help you find the ISOs. Distributing game files is illegal, and so you're going to have to do that on your own in terms of getting it from your disk. You can look up online how to get the files, and but what you're specifically going to want is an ISO of the game, not a CSIO, not an NKit. And so if you look here, at my ISO, it is 1.46 gigabytes. That should be how big yours is. If it's not, it's probably the wrong one. And so here is the Mario Baseball, and then also Mario Golf is a game that we play with Project Rio as well. So I have that ISO as well. But like I said, I can't help you. The Discord also will not be able to help you. As I mentioned, it is illegal to distribute these files, so make sure you get it on your own. So now we can hop into what Project Rio is. You know about emulation, you may know that Dolphin is the emulator of choice for most GameCube games. And what Project Rio did was took Dolphin and added a couple of Mario Baseball specific features. This gives us optimized online play, reducing lag, and then also has ranked ladders and game modes within it, and also integrations into the Discord. So Project Rio is the go-to for playing Mario Baseball online. And so I'm going to walk you through the installation process on both Mac and Windows. It's a bit different in terms of the controller drivers you may need if you're using a GameCube controller, and in terms of the permissions and things like that. So first up, we're going to start with the Mac, but if you're on Windows and you just want to skip this section, definitely just jump ahead to the timestamps in the video, and I'll walk you through on the Windows side of things. But hopping here on Mac, let's go to download Project Rio. We will scroll down here and open up the zip. Completely safe to use. You don't need to worry about it being unsafe. The code is open source if you want to review it, but we'll let that download here, and you'll notice it says decompression failed. If you try and open it from the downloads menu here, it's going to give you a, you can't open this file. Don't try and open it from the downloads file. I think that's a Mac OS glitch, but definitely just go to your Finder, go to downloads, and I'll bring that over here so you can see. There it is. There's your download. Open that up. It won't fail this time. So that'll open up. You can probably just drag this to your application. You'll notice it says Dolphin. Some of the type the naming within Project Rio didn't get fully changed over, so it might say Dolphin, but you'll see the Project Rio icon here. Now, if we go to open this up, you may get a pop-up about Rosetta if you've never installed an Intel-based application on your Mac before. I have a video of that. But you'll just need to install Rosetta. That'll finish, and then this will usually pop up as well. Apple could not verify the developer, so it's not going to let you open it. To fix this, just go to System Settings. You go to Privacy and Security. Scroll all the way to the bottom here. Dolphin was blocked to protect your Mac. You just want to open this anyway. It's trying to protect you because it doesn't know who the developer is, but you're going to just allow it. Click Open anyways. You'll need to put your administrator password in, or if you have Touch ID, you You can do that as well. So now we've given it permission, it's opening up, and we'll wait for that. Alright, so now Project Rio is opened up. You'll be greeted with this kind of splash screen here. You need to double click here in the center as it says and select the folder which contains your ISOs. So my ISOs, as I showed you before, documents, ISOs, you just want to click this folder. Don't go in. You actually can't on Mac click the actual ISO. You'll just want to click the folder that contains those. And there you go. You'll be able to see Mario Baseball, Mario Golf, Toadstool Tour. Now that the games have been installed to Project Rio, we're going to want to install our controller driver to make sure our GameCube controller functions on Mac. So you can click this controllers button here, and if you're not using a GameCube controller, there'll be a section later on in the video describing how you set up non-GameCube controllers. But for the GameCube controllers, you click GameCube adapter for Wii U, you click configure, and you'll see it says access denied, insufficient permissions. Now what this means is that you need to get a driver for your Mac to install, or to be able to communicate with the driver. And so what we'll use is GC adapter driver, and it'll be this first result here also listed in the description. So go ahead and click on the install, the downloader here. That'll download. We can open it up here from our downloads, and step 1, it says drag this to applications, so we will do that. Then we can go to our applications folder. You can see the GC adapter driver is here. We'll open this up. We'll need to give it some permissions, so first of all we have to allow it to run. We'll open that up. Then you'll see it populate here at the top. You want to click this and you want to toggle this on. Now it's going to want to use a new driver extension, so you have to go to System Settings. It'll show here. You'll click this toggle here to allow it to do so, and we'll enter our password, allow it to do that, and then you're going to need to restart your computer. So I'll do that here in just a second, but just so you can navigate there from your settings menu, if you go to General and you go to login items and extensions, this is where you'll find your different extensions, and right here the secret keys.gc adapter is the one you need to look at. And if you want to delete it at some point, you can also click here and delete it, but just make sure this is toggled on, and we'll go ahead and restart our computer and show you how to continue from there. One quick thing on your Mayflash adapter, make sure it is set to Wii U mode. There should be a switch. Mine's on the back here. Make sure that's set to Wii U and not PC, as Project Rio needs it to be in Wii U mode to communicate. Okay, now after restarting our computer, we can go back into controllers here, GameCube adapter, click configure, and you'll see that error message has gone away. This means your controller is successfully connected to your Mac, and you'll be good to go in terms of booting a game up. Now you'll also notice we don't have that icon here in the top toolbar. You actually don't need to have the application open, which I think is really nice, so that way you don't have to worry about turning it on and off. So you can just leave it here. You can even delete it if you want to clear up space. It is installed as a driver on your computer, so this here doesn't really do anything anymore. But yeah, that's how you set it up. Everything you need to know for getting going specifically for Mac. Now we'll hop into the Windows side of things. Do that, but stick around because there's also some configuration settings which are applicable to both, which I'll go over after we talk about installing Project Rio on Windows. So downloading Project Rio on Windows is quite similar. We're going to click download Project Rio from the website. Scroll down here, you'll see the exe and the zip files. I'm going to download the exe. I think that's easier to install, but if you have issues, you can also try out the zip. You'll see it here, install. It'll give you an error. If you right click on this more actions, you can click keep the file, and then you'll have to click show more and keep anyway. That'll allow you to bypass some of these restrictions which are trying to protect your computer, but Project Rio is safe to download, so you don't need to worry about that. So we'll go ahead and open up the file, and again it tries to protect it. We will click more info and then run anyways, and then you'll be asked to enter your password or your PIN. So I've gone ahead and done that. We'll click the next button here, and this will be the path of where it gets installed. We will install it there, and then we will let this run and install, and we'll be right back once this finishes. So now that it's finished installing, you can click the finish button here. You'll see a shortcut got added to our home screen, so we'll double click on that to launch Project Rio. And again, like we did on Mac, we'll need to set the directory to where our game files are stored. So we'll double click here in the center screen. Ours are stored in documents in this ISOs folder. So I'm just going to click on that. Make sure you click on the folder and not the actual game files themselves, the ISOs, just the folder that contains them. We can click select folder, and now we have loaded our games into Project Rio. Moving on, we're going to set up our controller. Just like on Mac, we need to install a specific driver to make sure our computer can communicate with the Mayflash GameCube adapter. This driver also works with the Wii U adapter, I believe. And before we get started, make sure you're, like it is on Mac, make sure it's set to Wii U mode, not PC mode. There should be a toggle somewhere on your adapter. Make sure that is set to Wii U mode, as that is what the Dolphin emulator is looking for. But we're going to go to this GitHub page. I'll link it in the description to download this app called Zadig. So we'll go ahead and click the exe here and get that downloaded. We'll also have to allow this to have some permissions. So when we open it up, it'll ask us to make changes to our device. We'll give it our password, and that should open up this menu as you see here. And from this menu, we're going to click Options and click List All Devices. Now this will populate the drop-down, and the device we are looking for is WUP028. That is this one right here. That is your GameCube adapter. And so here in this driver box, you'll probably have a different one listed. Since I've already done this process on my computer before, it already saves the new driver, but the thing you need to change is this toggle here. You want to make sure it says Win USB and click the reinstall driver. That will install the proper driver you need to have your controller, your GameCube controller, communicate with Dolphin. And that'll take a couple minutes to install here, so I'll come back and show you what it looks like when that gets installed. When that finishes, this message will pop up. We can close out. We can also close Zadig here. You may need to relaunch Project Rio, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Just close it out and open it up. But your controller now will be good to go. If you click Controllers, you click Configure, you will see it says Adapter Detected. That means you're good to go. And so that wraps up how to install everything you need to get going here with Project Rio. So in the next section of the video, I'm going to hop into some optimizations and how to use Project Rio, and we're just going to start from my Mac and stay on that, but it will be applicable to both Windows and Mac setups. Now, one last thing on controllers, I'll show you how to set up a non-GameCube controller. So I have this PlayStation controller right here, and if you go into your controllers, make sure it's plugged into your computer, and you go to Standard Controller, click Configure, and you'll see here it is the PS4 controller, and what you need to do is actually set your button mappings. So like on the control stick here, you click the up and then you click upwards on the control stick. Now you'll see that red dot move. You go down on the control stick, go left, and go right, and now you'll see your control stick setup. Same thing with the buttons here. You click what you want to be the A button, and then I'll click that on the controller and it'll start mapping, and as you can see, I've started to press the A button and it shows that input there on the screen. So you do that for all these buttons, and you can set up your PlayStation controller. This also works with Xbox controllers. Now mine didn't need a driver here on the Mac, but if you're on Windows or you're not able to view your controller, if you go to configure and the device isn't there, you might need to find a driver. To find the correct driver for what controller you're using, definitely just Google it. Just click Dolphin, your controller, and driver, or something like that. Whenever you're searching for something about Project Rio, it's just easiest to actually Google stuff about Dolphin, as all the Dolphin advice is going to work within Project Rio 99% of the time, unless you're dealing with online play or things like that. So now that we got our controller set up, we're going to go into some graphic settings and tweak a couple things to make sure we get the best performance out of Project Rio. If you click graphics here, you can go to General and select your backend. Now this is one of the most important settings to get right. If you're on a Mac, you want to use Metal. Some previous tutorials said to use Vulkan, but that was before Metal was supported in Dolphin and Project Rio, so definitely just use Metal. And if you're on a Windows laptop, typically you'll want to use Direct 3D11 or Direct 3D12, and you can play around, see which one gives you the best performance. I'll tell you how to do that here in a second, but definitely test a couple of them out, see if one is better than the other, if one is crashing a lot or anything like that. Now your adapter, you're going to want to select, if available, probably want to run it off your GPU. Here on the Mac, that's all in one, so you only have this one option here. A couple of other settings. Show player names, I like to turn that on. Draft timer, show net play messages, show net play ping. These will all be little pop-ups or little boxes in the full screen mode. And then the training mode, V1.0, this is for local play. It'll give you a bit more statistics on when you hit the ball. So if you're looking to better up your game, definitely turn that on. Now going over to enhancements, if you're running a more high-end machine, you can turn your internal resolution up. I know for me on my M1 Pro Mac, I'm able to play and record and stream all at 4X native, and that'll just make your graphics look a little bit nicer. Moving over to advanced, clicking on show FPS and show percent speed, those will be useful here in determining which graphic settings are better when you're trying to determine between which backend or other things you might change. So with that, let's just go ahead and launch Mario Baseball game here. And also, if you click config in audio, you may need to turn this down. It can sometimes be pretty loud, especially if you put it all the way up at 100%. So definitely just adjust it based on what you need. But we can go ahead and click into the game here. Now, one of the most important things playing online is that full screen is not the same as clicking this green button if you're on the Mac, or if you're on Windows, clicking the full screen window. You want to actually click this full screen button here, and that actually makes it perform a lot better. But as you can see here, it has an FPS counter, has a max percent, and so if you're changing graphic settings and want to see how it's going to perform, you can load up your game and see how the max percent is changing. If you're getting a higher max percent, that means your game can run faster than 100% speed, and that's always better. So you want to find the settings that maximize this percentage speed that you can run at. And if you're noticing a lot of frame drops, that probably means you want to change your settings as well. There's a whole page on the Project Rio website that can help you further optimize. I've taken some advice from there, but I'll definitely link that in the description. It goes into a little bit more detail. Here it is, just briefly. Goes into a lot more detail, written by Little Coke, so thank you to him for writing this up and providing some of the information for this tutorial. But another thing I like to do here is go into the options, and you go to hotkey settings. Now this is in regards to the full screen. I like to make toggle full screen as my F hotkey, and that means whenever I launch up a game, I can just hit F and go into the full screen mode. That way I know I'm getting the best performance out of Project Rio. One of the last things you need to do before being able to play online is create a Project Rio account. If you tried to click online play here, you'll notice you'll get this error. That's because we haven't set up our Rio account. So what you need to do is go over to the Project Rio website. You can click create your Rio account, and we'll go ahead and make one here so I can show you all the process here. Just set your username. Now this will be the username displayed to everyone on Project Rio, and it's also very useful to make it your Discord username as well. So if you're entering tournaments or anything like that, it is similar and people can figure out who you are. And so we'll enter our email as well. You will need to verify this email after you sign up for the account, and so we'll just go ahead and do that and click create user. And so now you'll see this message, your username has been created. Check your email to verify your account for further instructions. So we'll go ahead and hop over to our email account and find out our Rio key and verify our account. So as you can see here, I got this email from Project Rio. We're going to go ahead and click the verify me link. That'll just make sure your Project Rio account gets verified, and that will actually get you your Project Rio key. Now this key is something you want to not share with anyone. I'm showing you mine just so we can walk through this tutorial, but I'm going to change it actually after this video. So you'll copy this Rio key here, and you'll also get an email in your inbox with your Rio key right here. And so in case you ever lose it, you'll be able to go back to your email and get it from there. But I also recommend writing it down or putting it in a document on your computer. So from this Rio key, we've already copied it to our clipboard. We'll just go to Rio config, go to online account, and click add player here. Username, we're going to go ahead and enter our username, which was Matt Griefan, and then Rio key, we'll paste that in here, click save. And so now our Project Rio account is able to be selected. For online account, we'll definitely want to choose that there. And then if you're playing locally, you can also select it there. And if you're playing against your friends, those stat files can still be uploaded to the Rio web servers where we store all the stats. But with that done, you can go ahead and click online play and actually start hosting and joining matches. One quick note on internet connections and Project Rio. It is highly, highly recommended that you use an Ethernet connection when playing with Project Rio, whether that's ranked games or playing with your friends. The best experience will be had with Ethernet just because of the stability it offers compared to Wi-Fi. Even if your Wi-Fi router is sitting right there on your desk, is not as stable as a wired connection. Additionally, most players in the NetPlay server, as in like 99% of them, are located in North America. So if you're located outside of North America, you might have a tough time connecting and playing with players in North America. Typically, pings below 90, I'd say, are pretty well playable, but anything above that, you start to get into some dicey territory. And any cross-country connections within the United States or Canada to the United States typically fall below the 90 ping threshold there. So if you're experiencing ping higher than 90 and you and or your opponent are wireless, that might be a sign that you need to get a wired connection. It'll help not only drive the ping down, but also drive the fluctuations in ping, which are really crucial to avoid when you're playing an online game like Mario Baseball. Now that you got your Rio account into Project Rio, you're actually really basically ready to go and start playing your friends online. Now, if you've done this to try and play in the online rank community, this is the point where you're definitely going to want to join the Mario Baseball Discord if you haven't already. It's linked right here in the app. It's also linked in the description here. So we'll go ahead and hop into the Mario Baseball Discord, and I'll show you a couple things on how to actually get into some online games. All right, so I've got the Mario Superstar Baseball Discord pulled up here. And if you're a new net player and you're just joining, you're going to want to go to Role Self-Assignment, scroll all the way to the bottom here, and get the new net player's role. Now you can choose a lot of other roles. I definitely recommend getting a lot of other roles, but definitely want to pick up this new net player's role. And what that's going to allow you to do is go over here to what's called the Pianta League. Now this is a place for new net players to hang out, talk with each other, and look for games against other newer players. And this is really important because new players, it's typically really hard to just get started and play Mario Baseball against an experienced veteran, and this gives you an opportunity to play some competitive games against other new people and get to know other members of the community. So as you can see here, you already have people pinging, looking for new net players, wanting to play another game. And so you can just respond to people here in the Discord and schedule a game and get one going, and ping other people yourself with the new net player's role. And if you're moving on from the new net players and you want to play in just the ranked bot, you can go ahead over here to play online. There's a little bit of a queue here, so you can choose which game mode you're looking to play and join the queue specific to that game mode. So as you'll see here, it'll put you in queue, and you can just sit here until someone else joins the queue. It'll ping you in matchmaking net play. It'll have a message like this where it matches two people up. It'll tell you what pick you are in the draft and whether you are home or away. And so that's really all you need to know about using the Discord for getting and scheduling games of Mario Baseball. And it's really easy. We have set it up pretty nicely. And if you have any questions about the game, the Discord's always a great spot to talk strategy, talk how to play the game, ask any questions, or if you have any trouble setting up Project Rio, there's also the Project Rio support channel right here where people ask questions as well. So I'll show you what to do when you match into an opponent either through the Pianta League or the Rio bot. Once you get pinged, you're going to go to online play, and you can either join a match if your opponent has already put up a lobby, or if not, you'll click here on host match. Now you'll need to select a game mode each time, and make sure you select the one that corresponds to the game mode you chose in Discord. So we'll start off here on Superstars Off, and make sure you also have a region set in your lobby. Once you do that, you can click the host, and you've created a net play lobby. If you go here to online play, you'll actually be able to see the lobby name, and it'll have your username as well, so that way people can find you and your opponent can join your lobby. And that's what it'll also look like if your opponent put the lobby up first. But once we have this open, we can go back to it, and I want you to take note of the draft order here. The game modes will list a bunch of the rules in this game mode specifically, though. The draft is the most important. If you're playing a stars off mode, this is a 1-2-1-1-1-1 draft, meaning the first pick gets to pick the first character, the second pick gets to pick two characters after that, and from there on it just alternates back and forth. We've done this to try and balance out the team since Bowser is such a dominant character. And when you're playing stars on in Big Bala, it's actually a 1-2-2-2 draft. So the first player gets one pick, second player gets two picks, and then you alternate two picks back and forth for the rest of the draft. Another thing to take note of is that in most cases when you're playing online, your opponent will actually not want to pick a character from the captain screen first overall. So I'll go ahead and show you how that works right now. Alright, so I've got this lobby up with player 1 and player 2, and let's say player 2 as the first pick. They're typically going to pick Bowser in this Stars Off matchup. Now, as player 2, in a lot of cases, you're going to want to pick PD and Bro, and so in order to do that, you actually just have to select any other character. Typically, you'll choose Daisy or Peach, and that'll be considered a placeholder character. So from there, you'll just select your PD and Bro, and from here on, you'll draft back and forth. So then, let's see, here is player 1 if I wanted to grab Yoshi, and then player 2 here is going to grab DK. Now, once you do grab a captain character, you can actually go over to your character. You'll press the start button on your controller, and that will make DK your captain, and you can actually deselect Daisy from your team. And so that's how you actually pick a non-captain character first, and then eventually swap over to your actual captain character that you will use in-game. So with that out of the way, you can go through the rest of your draft, get into a game, and start playing online. Don't be afraid to ask your opponent for questions if you need help with anything. Most people are pretty friendly around the Discord and are willing to help out. If you're looking to use Project Rio more and do some offline play, you can click here on the mods and then click download codes. This will download a whole bunch of Gecko codes, essentially cheat codes, into the game, and their description here for what they do. And so you can really get to customize your experience if you're playing locally. Now, these won't work in the specified game modes in the online play, but if you put up a lobby and go to host match and you go no game mode, that's how you can actually play with your friends or people in the Discord with these Gecko codes, and you can turn on whichever one you want or add multiple of them. However, if you add too many of them, there's just not enough space in the memory to run all of them at once, so you might run into some oddities. So try and not to add too many together if possible. So there are a whole bunch of Gecko codes to add. If you want to look through them all, to add them into your game, just click the checkbox there, and that will do it. That wraps up this tutorial on Project Rio. I hope you found it interesting. I tried to cover as much as I could in a compressed format, so hopefully I didn't go too fast or anything. But I'll be around in the channel comments. If you need any help, be sure to leave a comment, but also check out the Discord. All the links that I've talked about throughout this video are in the description, especially the Discord there. You can find help from other people, and I hope this was useful in getting you set up to play online. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you on the field.